So, the subpoenas finally hit the table. Not in some back alley rumor, but in the light of day. John Brennan, the former CIA boss, the spoken chief who thought he was untouchable. Peter Strzok, the Bureau's golden boy turned ghost, the guy who lit the match on the whole damn thing. And Lisa Page, the lawyer who thought her secret messages, her little insurance policy, would never see the light of a courtroom. All of them called in. Not for a press conference to sell another book, not for a cushy gig on MSNBC, for a federal grand jury. You don't get that kind of personal invitation unless something smells like smoke. And where there's smoke this thick, there's usually a damn fire. And here's the kicker. They're not doing this in Washington, D.C., where the whole system is rigged, where every juror has a political agenda. This one's being handled in the Southern District of Florida. You know what that tells me? It tells me somebody wanted this out of the swamp. Somebody wanted a real jury, not a bunch of Beltway insiders protecting their own. They wanted distance from the political games. The prosecutor? A guy named Jason Redding Quinones. A new name. That means he brings new heat. He's not part of the old club. He's not out for headlines or a spot at a Georgetown cocktail party. He's out for facts. And facts don't lie. People do. Especially these people. For 8 years, they sold us a fairy tale. A bedtime story for idiots. Foreign interference, Russian collusion, secret backroom deals. They built a whole narrative, a whole fantasy, and they pointed the finger at one man, Trump. But there's a problem with that. When you point with one hand, the other hand's usually hiding something. A motive, a crime. This grand jury isn't just asking a few questions. It's not just going through the motions. It's pulling on a thread, a single loose thread from a very expensive, very corrupt suit. And as any good detective knows, you pull that thread long enough, the whole damn suit comes apart. And this ain't just about the big three. My sources are saying up to 30 subpoenas could be in the pipeline. 30. That's not a probe. That's not an investigation. That's a sweep. That's a citywide crackdown on a criminal organization. They're not just tossing a few pebbles into a pond to see what ripples. They're loading every bullet into a 6-shooter, and they're going to empty the cylinder. And believe me, someone's going to hear that hammer click. Let's rewind the tape. Remember Strzok and Page, 2 names that used to carry weight in the Bureau? Back in 2017, they were on Mueller's special counsel team, the top investigators digging into the Russia case. But then came the texts. The ones they thought were secret, arrogant, political, personal. They talked about an insurance policy in case Trump won. An insurance policy. That's not just bias. That's premeditation. They said the quiet part out loud, that they would stop a duly elected president, and they hoped no one was listening. When those texts came out, Strzok was reassigned to human resources, a cop's version of hell. Page walked away. They thought it was over. But the truth doesn't take a retirement package. It just waits. And then there's the man at the top of the pyramid. Brennan, former CIA director. For a guy who was supposed to work in the shadows, he sure spent a lot of time in the spotlight, running his mouth on cable news. Now, he's under the hot lamp himself, where he belongs. Because when you're the director of the CIA, when you greenlight intelligence operations that just happen to ripple into domestic politics and target one specific candidate, eventually someone is going to want to know who signed the paperwork, who gave the order. This time, that signature might come with fingerprints all over the crime. They always say justice is blind. That's not true. Justice isn't blind. It just doesn't blink. It sees everything. It doesn't care who you were, what fancy title you had, what agency you led, or what bullshit narrative the news sold to the public. It just watches. It waits. It collects the evidence, piece by piece, until the case is airtight, And then, when the powerful get comfortable, when they get arrogant, when they think they've gotten away with it, it acts. Don't let them tell you this is about revenge. This isn't about politics. This is about accountability. This is about the rule of law. If even a fraction of what's alleged here turns out to be true, that the highest levels of our intelligence agencies and law enforcement conspired to overthrow a president, then this will make Watergate look like jaywalking. Watergate was a 2-bit burglary. This was a coup. The subpoenas are out, the clock's ticking, and history's got its finger on the trigger. So, that's it for today. Please subscribe, like the video, drop a comment, and share this with someone who needs to see it, because YouTube has shadow banned us, and we need your help to get the word out. Until next time, this has been a Chris Dallas production with celebrity recreations. We're not rewriting history, we're just reminding you of the people who tried to erase it. Chris Dallas and Dirty Harry are now out.